Hello. Wanted to do another quick prediction and breakdown for some of the fights I find interesting on this card, this fight night. Adesanya versus Pfeiffer. Overall, looks to be a pretty solid card in my opinion. Some pretty good names. Not the most highest ranked guys, but guys I've seen fight a few times and pretty entertaining matchups. Some hard to pick matchups in this one. So yeah, just a couple of the fights that I find will be especially entertaining. So we've got the first one, Ricky Simone versus Adrian Yanez. Ricky Simone, very well-rounded guy, good wrestling, got good KO power, versus Adrian Yanez, who's sort of, I'd say much the same, but doesn't really have the wrestling sort of to back it all up. Definitely probably a little bit more technical on the feet, a bit more elusive on the feet, I'd say, than Ricky Simone. Ricky Simone's a bit of a power puncher, sort of wild sort of style, but I think the takedowns will make the difference in this fight. I think Ricky will look to take it to the ground. Adrian Yanez has got pretty good takedown defense, but I think he's going to struggle with someone like Ricky. I think Ricky's, he's a pretty good prospect in my opinion. Could have gone a bit further, I would have thought, but he's always sort of stumbled at the last hurdle. But he's still in the mix. I'm surprised he's not ranked, to be honest. He's had some good fights, but sort of just let himself down. So I think, like I said, Ricky's wrestling in this one. That'll be all the difference. He's a big, thick guy. I think he'll have no trouble holding Adrian down. He might have a bit of trouble getting him down, but once he gets him down, won't be surprised if he just holds him there. But my one concern is, Ricky Simone, like I said, he's let himself down in the last few sort of matchups. He was going on a really good tear there for a minute, beating heaps of guys, submission, KO. But, got KO'd by Song Yadong in the 5th round. That was a good showing, but I think that was the start of the downfall for him. That wore on him pretty hard, that fight, I reckon. But, he's still got some good wins. Javid Bashrat KO'd him. That's great. Lost to Ronnie Barcelos in his last fight, which, Ronnie Barcelos is no slouch. He's an older Brazilian, but he's pretty good. And, so both guys coming off decision losses. Adrian Yanez lost to Daniel Marcos. I'm gonna go with Ricky Simone. Edge this one in a decision fight. I think it'll be much of Adrian on the feet, and then Ricky winning the rounds with takedowns and a bit of control time, possibly threatening a submission. That would be a good bet. I'd say double chance, Ricky by sub or points. But I think he could land a clean shot. But I think Adrian's going to be too technical on the feet. He's going to want to get it to the ground. Like I said, hard fight to pick, guys. So, we'll go with Ricky in that one, though. Another good one I'm looking forward to. Navajo Sterling, the New Zealander, versus Bruno Lopez. Bruno Lopez, what can you say? He's not been real great. I mean, he's only had 2 fights in the UFC, but getting KO'd by Dustin Jacoby, that didn't look real flash. Navajo Sterling's won 3 fights in the UFC, all by decision. So, you know what you're going to get with him. Sort of a point fighting style. He looks like he cracks pretty hard, though. He's a big guy. Bruno Lopez is the shorter guy in this fight. I don't know. We haven't really seen a lot from both guys. I think Bruno Lopez will probably be... I'd say he could be the toughest test for Navajo at this stage. Bruno probably looking to take it to the ground, I reckon, would be a good game plan. I don't think Navajo Sterling... I don't think any of the city kickboxing guys have all that great at wrestling. They know what they're doing. They keep it striking, keep it on the feet. But I'm going to go with Navajo Sterling. Probably could see him getting KO'd. I don't think Bruno's chin's all that great. I think we haven't seen a lot from Bruno, though. I think there's still a lot to sort of be desired from him. He could turn it around. He's still pretty young. But, this would be a good entertaining fight. Good matchup there. Navajo, obviously, he's definitely a short price favourite in this one, so there's not a lot of value on him there. I don't really see him getting a KO, though. And just see him picking him apart from the outside, so... I don't know. Like I said, that's a pretty good fight. Bruno definitely wants to try and take him down. Navajo wants to keep it standing. But if Bruno gets him down, threaten with submissions... like I said, I don't think these guys know about the submission game real well. So, being such a green UFC fighter, I'm sure he's done a bit on the ground. But Bruno Lopez from Brazil, he's probably a black belt. So, good tough matchup for Navajo there. Good test, see where he's at. But yeah, probably Navajo by points, I reckon. Go in that one. Another good fight, I reckon. Heavyweights, Marcin Tybura. He's always pretty interesting, the old Polish. Versus Tyrell Fortune. Now, I don't know a lot about this Tyrell Fortune guy, making his UFC debut, so I haven't got a lot to go off of by him. Marchin's he's getting on a bit now. He'll be well into his 40s. Always a bit hit and miss, Marchin. I was very disappointed when he got knocked out by Auntie Delegi. Thought he would have done better in that fight, but he's a big dude, you know. Big dudes fucking knock each other out. They got big power. Marchin, I think, is probably lacking a bit of his power. He tries to fucking point fight a little bit too much. He's a good striker, though. Always liked his style. So, yeah, I'm going to go probably Marchin there. Bit of an upset. He's a slight underdog. Pretty even matchup. But, yeah, that should be a good fight. But, yeah, I'm going with Marcin Tybura. Legendary Polish power. Hopefully, yeah, a bit of the old Jan Blachowicz can rub off on him and, you know, he could sort of get back to his prime a little bit. You know, his last few performances, like I said, as he's gotten a bit older, have sort of been a bit of a letdown. But, yeah, I still think he's a banger. And I think, yeah, he'll probably put this new bloke in his place. Yeah, don't know. Like I said, can't really talk about Tyrell Fortune too much. Haven't seen a great deal from him. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does perform in the UFC. You know. Yeah, I think Tybura will pace him up. Either a KO or by decision. But I reckon he'll KO him. Legendary Polish power. The next fight, just wanted to touch on. Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson. I feel like a lot of people like Chase Hooper. I think he's pretty overrated in my opinion. I think he's, you know, obviously his ground game's there and that's his go-to. But I don't know. I don't really like his style. He looks terrible on the feet. Every fight, you know, when the striking's involved, he just looks out of place. But he has got a pretty good record, and I'm surprised he's, you know, when you see his record, how long he's actually been in the UFC and how long he's been fighting for. But you know, from what I can tell, looking at his record, the only guys he really beats are the older guys. He struggles when there's any sort of a test that's sort of a dude that's a bit more in his prime. That's when he really struggles. You know, going off his last fight, Alexander Hernandez KOs him in round 1. You know, and I don't think Hernandez is anything super special. But yeah, Lance Gibson, Canadian. We haven't seen a lot from him. Got that last minute call up in the Bobby Green fight. And he didn't look too bad, I thought. He sort of, you know, I think this guy was pretty credentialed when he come from Bellator, I believe. So he's probably not a bad prospect, but this will be another tough one to pick, I reckon. I feel like he's pretty good on the ground, this Lance dude, and you know, that'll play into Chase Hooper's favour because hopefully he wants to go to the ground. Because I mean, if I'm Lance, I'm keeping it on the feet. You know, I don't think Chase Hooper's improved with any real super special striking power or anything like that. So Lance Gibson, you know, he's quite a sizable underdog in this. I'm fairly surprised about that. I would have thought he would have been you know, I thought it would have been a little bit more of an even matchup, bit more even money on that fight. But yeah, no, Chase Hooper, big favourite. I guess I see him just going to the ground and choking him out. But yeah, I think like I said, if Lance can keep it standing, I think he'll win the striking battle and he could win the fight. I think this probably will go the distance, and I think Chase will probably win on points. Is my pick on that one. I don't think he'll get a finish, but hey, he's good at locking in them submissions. So yeah. That's another tough one to pick. I don't mind Lance as a good underdog in that, though. He looks stronger and he looks bigger to me. I've only seen him in that one fight, but he looks like a bit more of a solid sort of fighter. So, yeah, that should be another good matchup, I reckon, guys. Ignacio Bahamundes versus Tufik Musayev. I like Bahamundes. You know, does really well for his style. He's a big, tall, lanky guy, and he bloody 1-2 down the pipe. That's his specialty. And he's fought some pretty good guys. Most recent outing, he lost to Fiziev in a decision. So that tells you that he's pretty good. He can strike with the best of them. Tofik, he's only lost once, and that was to Mitabek Oberlai. So that's pretty good, you know. But we haven't seen a lot of this Tofik dude. So typical striker versus grappler matchup. I think Tawfiq's going to be looking to get it to the ground. I think Bahamundez has pretty good stand-up, pretty good takedown defense. So I think he'll keep the fight standing, and I think the 1-2's down the pipe. You know, he's 6'3". He's versing a guy that's 5'9". He's going to have the reach. He's going to have everything going in his favour here. He's a good young prospect. I do like Bahamundez. I don't know how far he's going to go, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets a KO in this one. Could see him coming in, old mate Tawfiq, and copping a big old uppercut or a nice knee out the middle from Ignacio. So that's a good fight. Yeah, go Bahamundez. KO. Round 2 on that one, guys. So there you go. Win a bit of money off that. Terence McKinney versus Kyle Nelson. So this is another interesting matchup, guys. I'm a little bit torn in this one. I don't really rate T-Rex, Terence McKinney. I think he's probably in that overrated basket again. He does look alright in a few fights, and I think he's still young. He's sort of coming of age, but Kyle Nelson, a bit more of an experienced fighter. Definitely good with the grappling. He's caused a few upsets in his time. That last fight with Frivola, that was a funny one. And I do like Kyle Nelson personally in this matchup. I think this suits him. I'm going to tip Kyle Nelson in this one as a slight underdog. I think he's just going to probably do better work on the ground. I think, obviously Terence can handle himself on the ground, but I think he's too much of a wild man. He's going to probably look for a big KO, and Kyle will get to his legs and take him down, hold him down pretty easily, I reckon. Win rounds. I think, Kyle Nelson by decision in that one. I could see him threaten to chokes. Terence lost his last fight to Chris Duncan by sub, so the subs are there for him. But I think Kyle Nelson wants to put on entertaining fights and wants to crack. So I wouldn't be surprised if he lands some heavy ground and pound, and he should look to submission, but I don't think he will. I think he'll probably leave himself open to, and I think it will be a bit of a back and forth fight, but I'm going to tip Kyle Nelson to win that one by points. Next good fight, I reckon, is probably the main event. I mean, Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. That's not too bad. I'm not a big fan of the girl fights there, but Alexa Grasso trying to get back up to a title shot. Macy Barber's looked good in her coming of age sort of coming out party. She's looking pretty good nowadays. They have matched up once before. Alexa Grasso has beaten her by decision before, so but Macy Barber's a big girl, eh? She looks solid, she looks thick. But I think Alexa Grasso, level above. That'll be a pretty heavy grappling matchup too, I think. They're both going to sort of look to grapple. And I think Alexa Grasso probably with the submissions will win that fight, just with the experience on the grappling side of things. Grasso's a slight underdog, so that's sort of surprising to me. But she's getting on and she's tasted the gold, and I think she's probably not as hungry as she once was, so that might play a factor in that. Macy's coming up, and Macy's got wicked ground and pound. I'll give her that. She does. When she gets them down, she uses some nasty elbows and stuff, and you'd like to see that, especially with the girls. You don't see a lot of that. So so main event, Adesanya versus Joe Pfeiffer, Country Joe. No, I'm looking at Adesanya in this one. I know he's had a rough couple of last 3 fights. Lost to Strickland. That was the start of it. Lost a submission to Duplessis. He was winning that fight. And then the Nasruddin Imavov fight. I think he looked pretty good there, and he got caught. Just made a simple error, which we don't see from Adesanya very often. But like I was just saying, guys, once you taste that gold, I think you sort of get a little bit lackadaisical. You don't probably take everything quite as serious. You've done it. You're set up for life. Joe's hungry. Joe's going to come at him like a fucking bat out of hell. So, yeah, we'll see. I think Adesanya's still got a couple good performances left in him. I hope so, anyway. I mean, I don't have a problem with seeing him get knocked out and stuff, but he was good. He was entertaining there, and, he sort of deserves a win, in my opinion. He was very active. Always pretty good, entertaining fights. A couple of them were a little bit fizzes, but for the most part, he always I liked his, sort of similar to Anderson Silva, but less violent. So yeah, my thoughts are Adesanya, he's going to be piecing him up, leg kicking him. I think Joe's never really fought someone with this sort of skill, and Joe's always been sort of a bigger dude. Abbas Magomedov's no slouch. He's a big, tall guy. But I think Adesanya's probably the biggest guy Joe's gonna have to face, and I don't think he's probably quite expecting the range game that Adesanya's going to play. I know everyone knows Adesanya's style. He's going to try and fucking use his flashy kicks and shit. But I think, that's going to be hard. Joe's going to have trouble trying to get in there. He's going to want to wrestle, get him down, try and submit him. I think he's going to have trouble getting in to get a hold of Adesanya. So, but you never know, guys. I do like Joe. He puts on a hell of a fight. I'll give him that much. He's a tough son of a bitch. But yeah, 6'2" versus Adesanya 6'4", 80-inch reach versus 75-inch reach. So, I think, is he picking him apart from the outside? If he gets back on track, I don't think he'll get back to another title shot. I think, you never know, he could, but I think Khamzat Chimaev would just fucking ragdoll him. So I don't know if he wants a title shot personally, but this will sort of be a bit of a redemption fight from Izzy, and I think he's due for a win. He's due for a decent performance. Like I said, he looked good against Imavov. Only got clipped in the second round by making a silly error. Don't think we'll see that again. I think he's going to play it safe. Decision for Adesanya. Maybe late round KO. Joe's leg could give out on him. I think if we get the Adesanya we've seen against Paulo Costa, heavy leg kick game. Joe's similar to Paulo in my opinion. He's going to be winging fucking huge hooks, and I think he's going to be hitting a lot of fresh air. I hope he tries to go for a takedown. That's where I would like to see. But I think Adesanya is one of the better guys at CKB on the ground. So, I think if Joe clips him and gets him down sort of Oliveira style, that could be a way to victory for him. But I don't think I think he's going to have trouble, even if he gets Adesanya down, hold him there. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. So yeah, we'll go Izzy by points and that. I think he won't be going nuts. I don't think he'll be looking for a finish. I think he's going to play it safe, but he's going to be picking his shots from the outside, moving around the cage well. Sort of a bit of the Adesanya from old here. So that's my prediction for that one, guys. And yeah, hope you enjoy the fights. Thanks for listening.